Antoine Griezmann's transfer to Atletico Madrid is a terrible move, but for who? For cheap good quality football jerseys, retro jerseys and tracksuits, go over to www.jerseyfifa.com, a link will be left in the description, and use code ATLANTISFOOTBALL for 5% off. Also remember to download the AVLI app from the App Store, as I will be doing a live stream on that app tomorrow at 7 PM, where you can get involved and ask me questions as well and give your opinions. Instructions will be left in the description below. So Barcelona did manage to shift Antoine Griezmann and his massive wages from their budget on deadline day. However, it had to come via a loan to Atletico Madrid, so Barcelona aren't clear yet. The loan is for a season with the option of extending to a 2-year loan, and we'll see Atletico Madrid pick up Griezmann's massive €800,000 per week or £600,000 per week wages, saving Barcelona around €40 million over the next 2 seasons. Now, just reading the numbers, the deal seems like an absolute failure from Barcelona. Barcelona signed Griezmann for €120 million just 2 summers ago, which means they've made an €80 million loss. However, I actually think that Barcelona have got the better end of this deal. See, Griezmann is on absolutely huge wages under his current Barcelona contract, double Jack Grealish's £300,000 per week at Manchester City, which is absolutely extraordinary. Combine this with the fact that Griezmann is far from being the player he was 2 years ago, let alone the player he was in his Atletico Madrid prime, and is now 30 years old, still with 3 years left on his Barcelona contract. This meant that Barcelona had a rapidly declining asset that could have cost them as much as €120 million in wages over the remainder of his contract. If Griezmann was 26 years old and on a more reasonable wage for a player in his circumstances, say around half of what he's on now, then Barcelona could expect to sell him for maybe between £60 and £70 million in my opinion. The reason why is that Griezmann is nowhere near the level that he was at a few seasons ago. If we look at his FBref report over the last 365 days and compare him to every other attacking midfielder and wide attacker in Europe, we can see that Griezmann still looks very good, sitting in the 90th percentile for non-penalty XG and non-penalty XG plus expected assists, with his non-penalty goals and progressive passes received also in the high 80s. However, when you compare him to other players on the market, he isn't on the same level as Mbappe and Haaland, and he isn't even on the same level as Mo Salah or Jadon Sancho. I'd say Griezmann is on the same level as the likes of Anthony Martial, Leroy Sané and Raheem Sterling, all of whom I would value at no more than £60 million, which means that even if he was younger and on a lower salary, Barcelona would still not have got a transfer fee anywhere close to the €120 million or £105 million they paid for Griezmann, which even at the time was substantially overpriced. Factoring Griezmann's wages, which are about £15 million more a year than most players of his quality, and that valuation drops to around £45 million if you only account for 1 season of his wages. Once you factor in his age as well, you can clearly see that Griezmann is not an attractive financial proposition. I would say that Atletico Madrid are effectively paying £15 million per season over what they should pay for Griezmann in normal circumstances, which over the course of a 2-year loan would be £30 million as a transfer fee indirectly. And even if you look at if Griezmann was on half of his $600k per week wages, it would still be the highest at the club, with Luis Suarez in second with £281,000 per week. The fact that Atletico Madrid have agreed to pay €40 million obligation to buy if Griezmann plays a certain amount of games is absolutely crazy to me. If they do end up doing this, not only will they be paying €40 million for a 32-year-old Griezmann, but it will take the total cost of having Griezmann for say 4 years to around £120 million in wages, €160 million in euros, and a £30 million transfer fee around €40 million, taking the total cost Atletico Madrid would have of signing Griezmann to a massive £150 million or €200 million. Just to put that into perspective, the total cost of Jadon Sancho's wages at Manchester United over a 4-year period would be £72 million, which combined with the £73 million that United paid for him is still lower than what Atletico Madrid would have to pay for Griezmann in the same period. Griezmann is still a good player, but nowhere near his salary, or even half of his salary in my opinion. Griezmann is going to have to go back to Atleti and produce the output that he was producing when he was in his prime around 2015-2016 to make this still even close to worth it. This is a strange habit Atletico Madrid have of massively overpaying players, particularly aging and returning players. If you look at their wage bill, you see that players like Saul Niguez, who has now left for Chelsea, was on around £11 million per year, and Vitolo was on £10 million per season, despite both players being bit part players for Simeone last season. If I was Atletico Madrid, I would be trying everything I could to get out of paying that €40 million to sign Griezmann permanently, as his massive wages as he comes into his 30s are a massive problem for Atletico Madrid that they need to avoid. So who do you think got the better of this deal, Barcelona or Atletico Madrid? Put your thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Give the video a like and click the bell for notifications. Also go to the description to check out the instructions to download the AVLI app, to watch my live stream tomorrow, and check out some of my other videos which will also be linked in the description as well. And follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more content as well.